Paddy Pimblett shares thoughts following his submission win over Bobby Green on UFC 304. One of the most highly anticipated bouts on the card turned out to be one of the few electric fights of the event, ending in the first round. Green and Pimblett had some exchanges on the feet, mostly leg kick dominant, and after Green shot for a takedown. On Paddy, first a guillotine, forced a submission, grappling exchange, and moments later, a transition into a triangle choke followed by an armbar sealed the deal for the Scouse fighter. As the crowd erupted in support of him, Paddy didn't hold back on haters and doubters on his immediate post-fight interview, but gave more detailed comments on the post-fight press conference. Quote, "As I said all week, people thought that I was just gonna come straight in and shoot in, and I told you all, I don't need to. People underestimate my striking and don't think I can strike. I had a striker shoot in on me. You know what I mean? I kept him on the end of my range. I kept him on the end of my jab, throwing kicks and stuff. I never even got a chance to throw a head kick at him. You know what I mean? But like I said, I leg kicked him and he shot in and I capitalized on it. I went guillotine, switched to a triangle, and I ended up taking the arm as well. I thought the ref was a little bit slow, to be honest. I think he was unconscious for a few seconds even before I took the arm, because I jumped out of the cage and went wild for about 30 seconds. And by the time I got back into the cage, he was still lying on the floor, unconscious. I was surprised he shot in on me at all, you know? He's had some brilliant striking fights with people. Like the Jim Miller fight, he stood with Jalen Turner. He's done 3 rounds with Fiziev and won the last round. People kept talking about that in the build-up to this. So yeah, I was surprised. But everyone underestimates me just because I look like a 14-year-old girl. You know what I mean? No bad blood at all. In this game, I like to be respectful. We fight to put food on the table for our tables. And the fact that his arm went, I felt it. I felt a little crunch. It was nasty. I just hope it isn't too bad because I know he likes to stay active and likes to fight as much as he can. So hopefully it's not a bad injury and he can fight again soon." End quote. Belal Muhammad reacts to his UFC 304 championship win over Leon Edwards. The dominant victory of Muhammad over the British champion sent shockwaves throughout the MMA community. Although the vast majority wasn't really impressed with the fight itself as it relates to its entertainment value, Belal very efficiently imposed his grinding, grappling heavy style onto Leon and eventually earned a unanimous decision victory. One of the few people who were excited about the result of the bout was, of course, Belal himself. At the post-fight press conference, he shared thoughts on getting the title and discussed future. Quote, "Like I said, I think I'm the best fighter in the world. I know I'm the best fighter in the world. I just had to prove it, and I had to show you guys. I had 3 years to sit there and dwell on that thing. That last fight, when everybody said Leon would beat me in the following rounds. We didn't get started in the last fight. We just dominated the champion. We did it easy. We did it better than Colby did. Better than Usman and their national champion wrestlers. I've literally never turned down a fight. I've never backed down from anybody. I've had so many people turn down fights against me. So now, I'm at the top. I'm the man. And now, it's about cementing my legacy as the best welterweight to ever do it. I'm not gonna sit there and call out these random guys and everything. I'll fight who's the next in line, who's the best in line. I'm gonna show you what I am and what can I do. They thought Leon was gonna walk through me, and now I'm gonna walk through these other guys. People laughed at me when I compared myself to GSP, but now look at where I am. I beat Wonderboy, Gilbert Burns, Damian Maia. All of these are big names, and people are going to keep disrespecting me, but we will just keep winning." End quote. When asked if he is planning on granting Leon Edwards a rematch, Belal said the following, quote, "Yeah, I'll give him a rematch in 3 years. Let him work his way back up. I think it was a dominant fight, and there really is no need for a rematch. He didn't have that long reign as a champion to be entitled to a rematch. I came to his hometown, in front of his people, on enemy territory. So it was a layup for him, but I blocked him." End quote. It's safe to say Dana White wasn't pleased by the UFC 304 main event. After the crowd's disappointment witnessing their champion lose the fight and his championship belt to Belal Muhammad, angry Dana sat in his front row seat contemplating never raising fight bonuses again, not prolonging the contract of Muhammad Mokaev, who failed in many ways, despite securing his victory and most likely getting a marketable fighter in there with Muhammad next, with hopes of changing the championship holder. As nothing is as damaging to UFC's mission to get maximum profit from pay-per-view sales as an unpopular champion, especially in a division full of big names, such as Chimaev, Usman, and Covington, none of whom Belal has fought. At the post-fight interview, Dana didn't hide his disdain for fights that lack excitement, including Belal Muhammad and his performance. Quote, "Horrible. Yeah, it wasn't a barn burner. Let's say that. I have no idea what happened. You have to ask Leon how he felt and what was going on. I know Belal has been training with Khabib, so his performance was what you would expect. Leon should just rest. No rematch. We're discussing some other options for the title right now. I will never raise the bonuses as well as I said. Nobody fought with a higher sense of urgency. Fuck all that. I'll never do that again." End quote. So it's safe to say Dana wasn't in one of his elevated moods, as he sometimes appears on press conferences. The opposite was true. He was visibly irritated at the turnout of the whole card and the main event itself. As he alluded to, the UFC has already started creating plans for the next welterweight title fight, which is highly unusual, as one of the most repeated Dana White phrases after fights is him saying he won't even think about future of the fighters that fought on that card, and that the matchmaking meetings take place a couple of days afterwards. But in this case, it looks like the matchmaking team is working with an elevated sense of urgency, possibly to get rid of a fighter as their division champion, who is not easy to market due to a multitude of reasons, including his fighting style. Belal becoming champion had to be good news for Usman and Covington, who were in difficult situations, occupying the top 5 space, but having lost the championship fights recently. To Leon Edwards, the change of the champion opens up their potential to challenge for the title again. And this time, it looks like Dana would be more enthusiastic to grant them another title shot. CHAEL Sonnen reacts to Sean O'Malley, calling Conor McGregor a mentally weak drug addict. The beef between the two UFC stars came about unexpectedly to the MMA community, as everything that had been on display from these fighters, including comments about each other or the few times they've met in person, was set in a friendly context. That changed, however, after McGregor said some harsh words about O'Malley on a stream that he was on where he was gambling and simultaneously answering fans' comments. Conor wasn't too polite when O'Malley's name came up, calling him names and criticizing him for having been popped on banned substances before. O'Malley recently called Conor a mentally weak drug addict in response. CHAEL reacts to this development, saying the following, quote, "Sean O'Malley and Conor McGregor. I mean, this is kind of the fight that needed to happen, guys. These guys were going through life, and in some ways, it was hand in hand. O'Malley was getting compared to McGregor at the time when that was a cool comparison for him. But as his star started to rise, he realized, wait, I don't need to be tied to anybody. Why would I think of Conor McGregor when I thought of Sean O'Malley? Was he doing something at some point? It wasn't the hair. It's not the weight class. Style? Yeah, dangerous on the feet. But I don't think that's enough. Anyway, that's no fun for these guys to get along. There's only one of them that got the world championship. And there's one of them that's completely undefeated, per the Sugar State Athletic Commission. Not for nothing, which one's the cool guy now? Back then it was Conor. But which of the two do you see as cooler now? Do you see how the roles have reversed now? O'Malley went down on one of the most absurd charges ever. And by the way, the commission concluded that it was a bad charge, but that doesn't make the news, you see? I think that it's very funny to think that Sean is on steroids. I don't think that it should bother him. But this is what Conor chose to come at him for. The irony is that Conor is coming hard at Sean, and Sean used to admire Conor. It does sting in a much different way, but you have an irony here. If you take coke, it can kill you, you're breaking the law, and can be put in jail. If you take steroids, it will make you better. It won't kill you. They're not illegal. Osterin is not illegal. You can't do that with coke. And my point with that is, if you're willing to do coke, you for sure have done steroids. Not maybe, for sure, end quote.